Good evening and welcome everybody to another episode of Section 305, the sports show. I'm Raul Pagan here with my colleague Nick Dupont. Nick, where are you right now? What is
Sorry, Raul. I'm in Pittsburgh right now. I'm just trying to get past security. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. Let me get through. All right.
Pittsburgh?
There we go.
Why would you want to watch the Penguins right now
Well,
after
it's not
they're
even for
down
the Penguins.
0-2, after they're down 0-2?
Well, it's not even for the Penguins. If you look at my background right now, I'm here for the NFL draft. Come on now.
Oh, you're for the NFL draft. My bad. I just
Yeah.
wanted
They're
you
still
to
setting up in the back.
wanted you to clarify for the fan base since it starts tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's why this show we're having it live on air a couple of hours before it. I mean, that's going to be a big topic for us to talk in the next week's episode. We already did basically like not a pre-draft, just basically one of our episodes mentioned which are like the biggest draft prospects. I went with Sonny Styles. He's been talked about by many teams, like not only as a top 10, possibly as a top 5. Mendoza keeps being number 1. We're also trying to see where Ruben Baines Jr. is going to be because Anthony, I don't know like what they saw in the NFL draft combine, but a lot of people can actually have them out of the top 10.
Yeah, I mean,
That was,
it's gonna be interesting. Ruben Baines really dropped, especially with a lot of things happening. The main one was his arm size. Now the other thing that's happening is the whole
yeah.
incident with possibly the DUI case and how he may have been involved. So teams aren't really liking that. If also for the viewers, if you stick around long enough, you will see Nick's scouting room, new show coming out on
Yes,
a new
sir.
show already out here on Section 305 Sports Show.
Yes.
And we'll definitely get to that talking about D line and O line at some point.
Of course.
But yeah, it's a shame with Ruben Bain because that guy's a top 5 talent, and he's gonna drop. I think he's gonna drop out of the top 10 possibly.
And you know who's upgraded? Jordan Tyson. A lot of people are seeing the wide receiver from Arizona State. Like he can actually remember the New York Giants have 2 picks in the top 10, number 5 and number 10. He can actually land in one of those 2. A lot of people don't see him as a top 5. More predicting that he's going to be the number 10 selection. Like they need a little bit more help in the wideout. And if you're going to trust somebody to right now actually operate that organization apart from their general manager, president, it's John Harbaugh.
I agree with that.
John Harbaugh is going to have like, and if they trade those picks, it's possibly going to be for like a top 3 or maybe a big veteran offensive player that they need, which is unlikely, but there's been rumors about that. So I feel like there's going to be so many NFL trades going on tonight. It's going to be a busy for Adam Schefter and also all the sports NFL specific analysts. This is actually one of the most exciting drafts that we've seen like since the beginning of this decade, since that quarterback draft class that we saw.
No, absolutely. I think this year is going to be very defensive heavy, a little offensive line heavy as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Outside of that, I don't think, like you were saying, I don't think it's going to be as talented as the quarterback class itself. And especially in the prior years where we've been really spoiled with getting great quarterbacks in these drafts. We are going to get a few good receivers. I'm excited to see that. And I think the running back room is very underrated, in my opinion. I think a lot of running backs are going to make their mark.
Jeremiah
Love. Yeah, he's going to probably be number 4 off the board, one of the Giants. So I'm excited to see what Harbaugh does with him if he ends up going there.
Yeah, because in the quarterback class, it's only Mendoza and Simpson. But before we go to our headlines, why is Ty Simpson being talked so much, like recently, of what other scouts are watching over the guy that is supposed to be the number 1 pick, Mendoza, the Heisman winner, the national champion winner with Indiana Hoosiers, has never had a title in program history in the football scenario. And he's the first player since Joe Burrow to win both the Heisman and the national championship. We already saw the outcome of Joe Burrow. The only thing that has been pushing him back is the injuries. That's it. Talent-wise, nobody can talk about that. The O-line man has never protected him. He's been crushed, and he still have brought the Bengals twice to the AFC Championship game. And then you got Mendoza that is actually landing if he is the number 1, landing in a good scenario situation with the Raiders on how they're upgrading everywhere. The coaching area, the offensive line, defensive side, they got Max Crosby still in that team since they revoked that trade. And then at the end of the day, getting Kirk Cousins as being a mentor to him, who a lot of people are talking about him being the starting, and then learning from what Cousins could basically whatever he produces on the field can help Mendoza understand more the game in a professional level. It's a way different from the collegiate level. So it's like the same thing with Caleb Williams, a Bears organization that has been mediocre for decades. They got the right pieces for him. We saw in his second year how basically he reinvented himself. And Mendoza in Las Vegas, I feel, and also Tom Brady as being one of the co-owners, he's literally landing in a good situation, a organization that's probably going to be more relevant in the upcoming future, and also in a couple of years, in the future, and also like years that they can be in the hardest division, basically a top contender over the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Chargers. I'm not saying now or the next year. I'm just saying like possibly the second half of this decade until like, let's say 2028, 2029, 2030. But a lot of people are talking about Ty Simpson. Like, what is going on there?
Well, if so, I actually talked about Ty Simpson in my last scouting room video with Anthony. We spoke about the ups and downs with all these quarterbacks that are coming in the draft. I'm pretty sure we talked about the top 5 quarterbacks, or not our top 5 quarterbacks, but just a list of top 5 quarterbacks that we thought were going to be available. But the thing was with Ty Simpson, a lot of NFL scouts like him because they think he's NFL ready. Personally, with me, I think he has a lot of accuracy issues, and I think his footwork needs a lot of adjustment. But for the most part, the guy can sling it, man. And NFL teams like that. They look at him and they see a project player, and that's what's going to probably happen with Mendoza. I was talking about that on the last video. Where Mendoza, he's probably going to come into the system with Kirk Cousins. He's probably going to sit out the first 3-4 games, develop, learn from Kirk. They're very similar players in the way that they play anyway. So I think it's really going to benefit him as a whole, especially being a pocket passer. But I think a lot of these scouts as well, they've realized that this is not a very heavy quarterback class as it is. So they're trying to put people at a higher standard than what they really are, just so they can kind of maybe tease other teams into getting somebody, or maybe they're just really high on that guy. Personally, with me, I need to see more tape on the guy. The last person I saw with only like 13 games total experience was Anthony Richardson, and look what happened to him. This guy Ty Simpson's only started 1 season for Alabama. And, he's definitely shown a lot of progression from his previous years to this year. But I'm not a Ty Simpson believer personally. This is going to sound like a hot take, and I talked about this on my scouting room video. I think Grant Newsmeyer might actually become a better quarterback than Ty Simpson.
From
I really
LSU?
like Grant Newsmeyer.
From LSU?
Yes, from LSU. I think he's a very underrated quarterback. I know he had a very down season this past year. He also dealt with a lot of injuries. But for the most part, I love his mechanics. I love the way he slings the ball. I think he could be great in this league. And I think a great fit for him would be the New Orleans Saints. But another thing that teams look at nowadays as well is that they don't really look at age anymore, Raul. Whether you're 21, 41, it doesn't really matter to these guys. Like, if you can play ball for at least like 4 or 5 years, then we can get something out of you. We're going to get you. It's like LeBron right now. LeBron's 41 years old, and look at him with the Lakers right now. So
that's going to be one of the topics. Just to end up this big intro, we usually do like a 3-5 minute intro, but since tonight, but we got to be, so we don't get in trouble. Remember, you got to manage the
It's
time,
okay.
right?
I'm looking at time.
But since we're hitting that 10-minute mark, 3 things before we head to the first topic. We're going to be focusing on NBA playoffs and NHL. With all 3 quarterbacks that we just mentioned, from the running game for Mendoza, I think he improved it during the playoffs. I think that he needs to do that in the NFL, and he showed it in the national championship game against Miami with that clutch touchdown. Let's just say, I know he still needs work with it, but when you mentioned the footwork, I feel like he has been developing and practicing that because he knows that NFL is a whole different ball game. From Ty Simpson, I think the most worry thing from him basically was like his performance in the playoffs. Like, Alabama got crushed. And
Oh, it's
so
a huge thing though. You have to look at. That's a huge standard you have to look at too. You can't just overlook the fact that yeah, he's playing a playoff game. Maybe it's an extra game in the season, but that's an extra game that in the NFL, that's just another regular season game. In the NFL, there's 17 weeks of football. In college football, you're lucky to even hit 17 games in a season if you get that far. So
and from
I
the
just
yeah,
I'm not a fan of him.
and from the LSU quarterback, I agree with every takes that you did. The only thing that they've been talked about is his bad decisions sometimes on the field, especially in the red zone. I think that's the only thing that he has to improve. Everything that you give a take about him is accurate, is perfect. But a lot of scouts have been talking about his bad decisions, like in some of
Mm.
the big moments, especially in the red zone. So obviously, in the draft combine, they be seeing a little bit of improvement of what he can basically try to fix from the those type of issues that he has. But I feel like he could be a first rounder, maximum second rounder, because we already saw the Sanders situation, which shocked the world. A lot of people have like different takeaways from that. We're not gonna get into it. I know it's like a different scene from it, but I don't know, man. In the NFL draft, you already know that some teams, a lot of them have like two or three positions that they need. All of a sudden, they switch it up with a surprising move that basically has us all thinking, why would they do that? We've seen it like with the Michael Penix thing
Yeah.
when they signed Kirk Cousins. We've seen it with teams that, let's just say, need like a big wide receiver or a quarterback. All of a sudden, they draft a O lineman, and they're like, "What's going on here?"
I just think it's more so for development at that
Or
point.
an edge rusher, a defensive lineman. So NFL draft is actually one of the most surprising that you will see compared to other professional sports in America. So it's gonna be
Agreed.
it's gonna be an interesting night. I know that you're gonna have a lot of work to do, especially to see how your grade's gonna be with the picks that you made. So we'll talk about that in the nearest future of Section 305. Let's go to our first
Whoa.
topic.
Whoa. Before you get to that first topic, I do have a
Yeah.
quick question for you.
Okay.
Are you hungry right now?
Yes. I've had a
Well,
long I've had a long day. I want to go to eat and then sleep. Tomorrow's
I
another
got the
day.
place for you, man. I got the place for you. Go check
Really?
out this place named Metropol Restaurant, dude. It just
Woo!
at Dayland Mall, and it's
Oh
basically the
man.
cheat code for amazing Puerto Rican and Cuban cuisine. I'm talking mofongo, crispy fried pork, stuffed chicken, congri rice, ribs, and I mean ribs where they just fall right off the bone. Not even just like any type of ribs. Like it's the kind of meal where you say, I'll just try a little bit. And then suddenly your plate is gone. So next time you're shopping at Dolphin Mall, Rule, and for the audience, do yourself a favor, skip the food court and go straight to Metropole. Your taste buds will thank you.
You know the good thing about it, Nick? I had a different meal ready going after this episode, but since it is the NFL Draft 2026,
It's the place to
I
be.
like I like I like
Place
to
to be.
watch I like to watch it in public. So if I had the energy, I would. But they also have Uber Eats, so they can take it right to my home. It's gonna be a good Thursday night. Also, there are a couple of NBA games today, but our topics are gonna be mostly in the Western Conference, right, Nick? So we know that the Eastern Conference was surprising because
It's been surprising.
we had 10 teams over 500, which we thought that because of injuries from the Boston Celtics, the departure from Damian Lillard, when he didn't departed, they threw him out, in other words, and still paying him. And then the Tyrese Halliburton scenario with the Indiana Pacers, we saw it as like the most flexible. And we were already predicting that Knicks and Cavaliers, those are the top teams. And then we can see the Pistons, Raptors ascending, and other dark horses. And it was the opposite. We saw an pro-injured Boston team ending number 2, almost number 1. That was the Detroit Pistons. Then you saw the Cavaliers and the Knicks battling for the 3rd and 4th spot. We already know who the Knicks are playing in the first round. The Pacers, the Hawks. We're seeing the Raptors and the Cavaliers, Celtics and Sixers, and then the Pistons against the Magic. But at the end of the day, the conference that actually disappointed, like with the Kings, the Mavericks, the same Clippers, even the Warriors, all those four teams didn't even make it to the playoffs. Two of them make it to the play-in, which were the Warriors and the Clippers, but they fall out. And we still agreed that it was going to be the most competitive, the most interesting. And so a lot of people had the Rockets with KD coming back winning. And we saw the 9 turnovers that he committed. Basically, LeBron James outdueling him. And now the Lakers have a 2-0 lead. Then we're going to be talking about the Portland and San Antonio scenario. OKC and Phoenix. I would rather see Golden State and OKC, Curry against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But it is what it is. We saw how the Thunder blew them out. And I feel like maximum 5, minimum 4 games, that series is going to be. Nuggets and Timberwolves, we saw how they tied that series. And I feel like that can go to 7 games. And now, Lakers and Rockets, that's the one that we're all surprised. Because you have Doncic and Reeves out. And LeBron basically turning the clock back.
I mean, I did say a couple episodes ago, I did say that LeBron could turn back the clock, and we could see something like this from him. Maybe shades of 2016, maybe shades of 2018. I mean, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself here, but I don't know. It seems like my GOAT is being decided as we speak.
Calm down. We'll have that conversation for another day. But I gotta give credit to what creditors do, because I went completely opposite to that discussion that we had about if LeBron can carry the Lakers to a deep run in the playoffs without Reeves and Doncic. And I say no, because his core basically was leaving him alone. His core was not responding. And all of a sudden, we see Luke Kennard, 5 for 5 in the three-point line, game 1, 27 points. We're seeing DeAndre Ayton also turning the clock back. 19 points, 11 rebounds. We're seeing Rui Hachimura with 14. Marcus Smart with 15. And then this past game, all of a sudden, LeBron knew that he had to step up a little bit more than what he scored in the first one, 19 points. But he literally, like you said, looked like vintage LeBron. 28 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, almost a triple-double. So I ask you this question. Can the Lakers continue to resist the series without Doncic and Reeves?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna ride with my take, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm already up 2-0 in this series, and I'm feeling pretty good about this Lakers team, Raul. And I think my biggest surprise on this team has to be Luke Kennard, just like everybody else. I mean, who would have thought Luke Kennard shooting over 50% from the field from 3? Oh my Lord!
What a big pickup!
Said in his career, everyone has always said in their career, LeBron needs shooters around him. LeBron always needs shooters. LeBron couldn't get Klay Thompson.
Facts.
But damn, might I say, Luke Kennard looks a lot like Klay Thompson right now with the way he's been shooting the ball. He's been incredible. This Lakers team is on a run. And honestly, I'm at a point right now with believing, because you know how I feel about the Lakers, Raul. You know how I feel about this team. But with the way they're playing and the momentum that they have, they may make some noise when Luka and Reeves come back. And who knows, man? This is a pretty exciting time to be a Lakers fan. You're telling me your top two out of your top 3 players are out injured for the entire first round, and your team is up 2-0 because LeBron is him? Like, this is a dream scenario, I would say. I would like to think this is a dream scenario to be a Lakers fan. This guy has been incredible all season, especially with the role that he's played. May not have had the best stats, but the role that he's taken with this team to be Luka's Robin and being that team voice and that team leader that everyone needs, this is exactly what he's done for the season. And now he's just putting it on a different level in the playoffs, showing that I may be 41, but I can play like I'm 21.
I mean, well, the thing that I was worried about this team, I still feel like the Rockets are going to tie the series back home. And I'm going to get into Houston because the Lakers, wow, big factor for this team, apart from Luke Kennard, that has 50 points in the first 2 games. And then basically LeBron surrounding, helping him. Because the bench I told you that was one of their weaknesses. Game
Yeah.
one, game one they didn't produce. Game two, only six, and it was from, if I'm not mistaken, Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes. He was the only one that scored off the bench. So this has been mostly about LeBron, Luke Kennard, but also giving credit to Marcus Smart, 25 points. Rui Hashimura has also been producing whatever he is capable of. But at the same time, one of the things that I was worried about this team were the role players. Let's start with that.
I agree.
And
I
and
agree with you.
what was their biggest weakness throughout the season? Their
I would say
defense.
for all of the defense, and I would say honestly the center position in DeAndre Ayton.
Center position, also the 3-point scoring. That's why they had to pick up Luke Kennard, and he's been helping them out with that. You see sometimes this team that is hot from the 3-point line, but that's when Doncic is in the court. That's when Reeves also. LeBron has his big moments. We saw when, if I'm not mistaken, it was Deshaun Tate that was basically on him. He was basically banging him. And all of a sudden, when he got a separation, threw a 3-pointer in front of Alperen Sengun, basically saying, "You just poked the bear. You just poked the bear." And LeBron James, like you said, at his age 41, playing like he's 21. We're always gonna have this GOAT debates. It's never gonna stop, even when he retires. We're not gonna get into that right now because then we're gonna be over the limit, and then Anthony and one of our
Viewers,
producers
as you can tell, Raul is a
is gonna kill
clear
us.
Jordan fan.
Obviously, who am I gonna mention? Who else?
KD.
Who?
KD.
KD. Man, KD coming back, 9 turnovers. Wow. Like
That's
at the same time, kudos for the Lakers defense because they held the Rockets to a 40% and a 24% from the 3-point line, including forcing 15 turnovers in this past game. Like one of their weaknesses or their biggest was the defense, and right now they kept this Rockets team below 100 points in the first two games. I know they didn't have KD in the first one, held them to a 38% shooting, forcing 13 turnovers. But Houston is a team that what has been affecting them mostly throughout the season has been clutch moments,
yeah.
has been big leads that they've blown, and they don't have a point guard. They
Yeah.
literally need Fred VanVleet. I'm not talking about this series. I'm talking about them possibly ending in the second spot of the West. If they would have had Fred VanVleet, they've been playing big man ball. Who's their smallest guy? Amin Thompson? How much is he? 6'5"?
Oh, their smallest guy is Reed Shepard, their backup point guard, who was starting at times during the season, but now it is Amin Thompson.
And so
But
they
he's like
have
6'7".
they have 6'7". That's how they started off the season. And now Reed Shepard, the reason why sometimes they put him in the starting lineup or at the end of the day bring him off the bench because right now that's exactly what they need. I would like to agree with you, but I can't see Houston basically. Ime Udoka has been outcoached by JJ Redick. Let's start with that. At the same time, like me seeing LeBron, he's proven to me the first two games. I get it. It's a 7-game series, Nick. I feel like Houston's gonna go home, take care of business, and then that's gonna put pressure on the Lakers if Reeves and Doncic still don't come in the first round of the playoffs. And so the only thing that I would like to agree with you, since LeBron and the Lakers are 2-0, is because he is 32-0 with the
Yeah.
Cavaliers, the Heat, and now with the Lakers when he has a 2-0 series lead in any first, second, third round finals. So that actually gives the edge to the Lakers, and I could see them going a 7-game series, but I feel like these two were momentums on them being home. Their role players are playing good, especially Luke Kennard, LeBron James doing his thing. The defense have been amazing, forcing 28 turnovers in the past two games. That's been the biggest factor for this team, apart from JJ Redick outdueling Ime Udoka, but I feel like they're gonna, how do you say, there's not gonna be that much gas in the tank if they go to a 7-game series. If they take one at Houston,
I can see that.
I can say, Nick, you were right. You're right.
Well, I could see that. If they go to 7, yeah, they're not going to have any gas in the tank. I agree with that. But for the most part, I don't think this is going to go to 7. I think this is going to be a 6-game series that the Lakers are going to take home.
All right, I had Houston winning, so right now I'm in the other side of that. I'm the other side of that conversation. Just to wrap it up, now if the Lakers win and they go to the second round, Luka and Austin, let's just say hypothetically, they are finally 100% healthy and they return to the playoffs. Can we consider them a serious contenders?
I mean, I would like to think so, especially that we're seeing a lot as it is already from the Rockets and just their depth alone, just carrying them along the way. Yes, LeBron's technically their hard carry, but for the rest of the way, it's the bench. You know, Luke Kennard, DeAndre Ayton's been getting rebounds. Rui Hachimura, like he's on the bench, but it's rotation. They have the pieces. If they can just put it together moving forward and keep this momentum going, they'll be fine. And once you add your 2 additions of Austin Reeves and Luka, who give you easily a good 30 a game or 25 a night, I don't see how things can turn so bad. I know the defense is going to be a problem once they go to OKC. If they go to OKC and they start playing them, we still have to wait to see.
So,
I do think they're going to end up playing OKC, but I just don't see.
Real quick,
I don't know about that.
Real quick, you just answered it. Thank you for giving my answer. OKC, that's where the bus stops. That's where that's the last stop for the train. Sorry, a young OKC team, especially when they've owned them in the past few years. I don't see the Lakers. Can I see them battling with Reeves and Doncic to a maximum 6-game series? I can, but I don't see a 7-game. I see a minimum 5. Maximum 6, OKC taking it on the road in Los Angeles or finish it at their home in Game 5. They're just too. They proved in Game 1 against Phoenix Suns. They're just too quick. They're too athletic. They got depth. They're 100% healthy. They got one of the best coaches in the league. They're gonna have their second-time MVP because I feel like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is gonna win it back-to-back over Nikola Jokic, even though we can also have that debate because I had Jokic, but since he's been missing more games, maybe that's going to be like a factor on how the committee is going to evaluate that or the league. And so remember, also Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, big, important fact, who just won Clutch Player of the Year?
I mean, he did. I'm not going to lie, but didn't Luka Doncic also win Clutch Player of the Year in his career so far?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Well, so that's my argument.
But we have 110% Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with possibly 90-95 if they force Luka to return because his injury that takes time. Reeves, I can see him coming back full strength, but Doncic, like if the Lakers are in trouble, they're probably gonna want him to at least try to play. And then we'll see what he can basically produce offensively for that team. Because in the defensive side, sorry, but they cannot count with him.
No, 100%. I mean, at least they're in a better scenario than the next team we're going to be talking about, in which it's the San Antonio Spurs, who are clearly just going through it right now, losing Victor Wembanyama and one of their starting guards. I mean, this is brutal, man. Yeah, I was really excited for this.
The way that he fell, I was like, wow. Literally, he was. I said the first thing he didn't. I mean, they saying that he broke his jaw. It's not definitely, but they saying something like that. We still need to have like a little bit more evaluation on that from the doctors because right now
he could be out from 48 hours to 2 weeks
because he's entered the concussion protocol, and you already know. Yeah. And you already know the NFL. I know it's a whole different sport. This is not a violent sport. They literally need them to have a week or 2 resting, even 3. But right now, it is what it is. His night ended short due to him falling in his face and entering the concussion protocol. And so the San Antonio Spurs, though Nick had a big lead in the fourth quarter, they were up by 16 at one point. And then by 9, like in the last 5 minutes, and then Scoot Henderson took over. completely. Drew Holiday also executed in big moments. And so the Spurs lose game 2 to the Portland Trailblazers 106-103. The series has now been tied 1 apiece, which with the possibility, of Wembayama missing time, can we see Portland make a round 2 push?
I mean, I think yeah. I mean, it's. I feel like it's a safe assumption. Yeah. If Wembanyama does not come back this series, Portland can definitely take the reins and turn it the way they want to. They can definitely turn this horse around and make it theirs. Losing Jordan McLaughlin for a day to day, and Harrison Barnes is now day to day as well, and now you have Wembanyama listed as day to day, but this could be longer than what people might think. I think it's going to be day to day. Personally, he'll probably be back next game, but I don't see this team going very far, man. Wemby's their anchor. He holds his team together. He's their rebounder, their scorer, their defensive guy. He does everything for that.
That's a player of the year.
Yeah, defensive player of the year, exactly. He's great. He's really great. I just don't see that Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle being able to carry this team alone. And I know you have Devin Vassell, Luke Cornett, and other assets on that team, but I just don't think it's enough to get past. I can't believe I'm about to say this. It's enough to get past Denny Avdia and Scoot Henderson. And it's funny that we're talking about the Trailblazers right now.
When you said Denny Avdia, what were you laughing? He's an all-star.
Well, listen, he's an all-star.
41 points in that playing game, in that comeback against the Phoenix Suns. Imagine when Damian Lillard comes back. I said that this team could actually make noise next year with Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, Shaedon Sharpe, who's averaging 20 points this season. You got big men like Robert Williams protecting the paint, and then you have Vija basically proving that he could be like a franchise player. He's been developed since his days with Washington, with Portland. He exploded. And then kudos also to Thiago Splitter. I feel like he should have been like at least a finalist.
Yeah, Thiago Splitter, he needs to be shouted out. But my thing is with Denny Avdia, man. He's taking a lot of free throws this year. And even Wembanyama said it, like, it's easy to guard Denny if you don't foul him. It's that simple. Just don't foul him, you know? And I don't want to say Wemby's calling him a free throw merchant, but you kind of get that from him because throughout the games this season, when I have watched the Blazers and Denny Avdia play, he's been getting some Shea Gilgeous-Alexander calls, and it's been a little questionable, I won't lie. So that's why I kind of laugh, because when I look at Denny, I think about where he's come from and being with Washington and being the next guy for Washington. He's supposed to be that next generation player who's going to carry us, and then they move on from him. And as soon as they move on from him, bam, all-star season, 24 points per game. And Raul, I don't know if you remember this, but back at the arena a few years ago, I was actually very high on Portland and their ability to make the playoffs and their development. And this is when they had Simons, and once they stopped making the playoffs, once they stopped making the playoffs and the play-in, I was like, you know what, this team's going nowhere. I'm off this train. Damian Lillard's not here. Like, they're not going to do anything. I'm out. Yeah. Like, I'm out. I'm off the train. And I'm really happy to see that they're doing something. I really like Robert Williams. I like Drew Holiday, and for the defensive aspect on that team, they really hold their own against these guys. Besides the turnovers that Drew Holiday had last game, he made up for it with 9 assists, almost a double-double. But come on, let's talk about Scoot Henderson for a second. Everyone's calling this guy a bust, bro. They're calling this guy a bust. I think he's just waking up.
That's fire. Yeah, he's waking up. That's giving him fire. Finally.
It's exciting, bro.
Remember, he was a third pick, and a lot of people saw him like the next Damian Lillard over Anthony Simons. Even playing with Anthony Simons, even with Jeremy Grant right next to him, they saw him like that same year he got drafted. A lot of people predicted he was going to be Rookie of the Year. It's like, bro,
I was one of those people.
Time. And it was understandable. It was understandable. Let's just say, I'm not saying he didn't play bad, but not to that expectation level that we basically were talking about that he can end up in his first year.
Yeah. It's just everyone
and then the rest of his career.
Like a Dwayne Wade superstar type player, where he's going to come in and like just start dunking everywhere and scoring, but he's really taking his time coming into the league. Every year he's getting better. He's really showing who he is as a player and a person on and off the court. I'm obsessed with Scoot Henderson. I'm very happy for his development right now. Very happy for his career with the way it's going. It seems like it's going on the right trajectory and going up. With Portland as a whole, I definitely think they can make that playoff push, man. If Wembanyama does not play the rest of the series, I think they can win it. I really do. Next round, I think that's where the bus ends. I'm going to take your quote on that one, but I think that's where it ends.
So I'm going to answer as quick as possible. Give credit to Thiago Splitter. Give credit to this roster, which is not better than other teams that didn't make the playoffs. I mean, this roster, in my opinion, was not better than Sacramento. I don't feel like they were better than the Clippers even before they started making the changes. Mavericks, they had so many issues. Okay, we'll give them a pass. Golden State, prone to injuries. All right. But after that scandal that happened with the 34 individuals that were arrested for illegal gambling, one of them being their coach, Chauncey Billups. Like, I felt like the season for them, including for what happened with Rozier and the Miami Heat, I already saw it as like a bad start. So I felt like this was going to affect them mentally. I talked about it with Rozier and the Heat. That's why we gave credit to Eric Spoelstra, basically having a good start, then regressing, then up and downs, didn't make the playoffs. But Spoelstra, at the end of the day, with this team, had big wins against the Pistons, the Thunder, the Rockets, and others that are in the playoffs. But with the Portland situation, I said, oh, man, Chauncey Billups is one of them. Who's going to be his successor? And when they had Thiago Splitter, all of a sudden they were playing even better. And then that had me worried because I'm like, all right, so is Chauncey Billups actually the real issue with this team? I mean, at the end of the day, after Lillard left, they didn't have like the right pieces for them to compete. And so starting this season, what happened with that gambling scandal, and all of a sudden Thiago taking over the Portland Trailblazers, I'm surprised. This team was actually the most unexpected turnaround that we've seen in the Western Conference. And I would actually like it, and they deserve to make it to the second round. They have 8 players that average double-digit points this season. And talking about Scoot Henderson, he was the 5th best scorer. He was not better than Jeremy Grant, Shaedon Sharpe, Denny Avdija, sorry. And also Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, Shaedon Sharpe, and Danny. He was the 5th best scorer. And now this type of big moments, it's a bright sign for what's coming in the nearest future for the Trailblazers, especially when Damian Lillard comes next season. They are going to make a lot of noise, in my opinion. But San Antonio, even without Victor, is built to compete.
No, man. No, yes, I'm sorry. Man. I'm sorry.
Wembanyama, I know he leads the team in points, rebounds, blocking, in the whole stats. I get that. But still, what Mitch Johnson has done, even, have you forgotten that this player missed a lot of weeks throughout the season? I'm not talking about before he came back and they made it to the play-in. I'm talking about like throughout the season. Like, he's been injured a lot of times. He's missed a lot of games.
Yeah.
And they still were the number 2 seed. They still find ways to win with De'Aaron Fox, Stephen Castle, the rookie Dylan Harper, the veteran Harrison Barnes, having Luke Cornett as a backup. And this San Antonio were showing that the last game. Just to wrap this up, they basically lost it. Scoot Henderson was on fire. Big defensive moments collectively. Also, Drew Holiday, big shots at the end. But they still were a quarter away of having a 2-0 series lead, even when Wembanyama went down at the beginning of this game. So I still believe in Mitch Johnson. I still believe that the core team they have, they should at least steal one game in Portland without Wembanyama, because I feel like he should miss the next 2 games. In my opinion, he should not play game 3 or game 4. They can steal one in Portland, be tied, come back to San Antonio, Wembanyama being cleared to play, and still win the series in 6, max 7.
I mean, I could see that take. I agree with that take. I definitely think you make a lot of valid points, but I want to tap on something that you talked about. Let's go back to the head coaching decision for Portland, where they got Thiago Splitter to become the next successor for Chauncey Billups.
Okay.
when Chauncey Billups was running this team really, it felt like it really had no identity to it. You know, they would go
I
on some
agree.
win streaks, they would mostly just lose games, but no one really had an identity of what this team was. No one can really like pin them out and just be like, okay, they have their star player, they have decent role players, but what are they shaping
You're
it
right.
for right now?
You're
Like, I
right.
get that they're going for youth, but this team is now finding their identity, and they're finding it in the best moment possible. Yes, not having Wembanyama, it matters. I will say it matters, but to
Yeah.
them, it doesn't, because they come to compete every night. And now that they just lost their biggest threat on the defensive side and offensive side of the ball, they're going to be running up and down the court, because that is what they are. That is their mantra: to play hard defense, to make big plays, and get your big shots, get your big players open shots. That is what it's about, you know. And Denny Advia has been proving that all season. He's been proving it to me clearly. He's been proving it to me. And Scoot Henderson has been someone who's always been high. I've always been high on. I just don't believe in the bench and the depth of San Antonio. Like Devin Vassell, for example, who shot 0 for 5 from three-point range last game. Terrible shooting night on his end. Terrible shooting night. If he's going to be one of your best players, one of your key rotational pieces that has to score the ball, he needs to do it consistently, and he can't be missing big shots like that, or just big shots in general, because then you end up with score lines like this where you're losing by 3 points, you're losing by 2 points, you're losing by 1 point, and that's it, you know? So if they can keep this momentum going, I definitely see them making a playoff push, especially now that they are finding their identity.
At the end of the day, like a lot of people see this something mental, like, oh, we lost our star player. Now what are we gonna do? They're professionals, and they still ended up in the second seed as one of the top 5 offensive teams, top 10 defensive teams, with or without Wembayama. I still think that they're gonna figure it out, and that's Miss Johnson's job to basically make the adjustments without Victor Wembanyama, like we saw throughout the season. So I still have faith that San Antonio has the right pieces to still compete against the Portland Trailblazers, maybe a little bit more healthier. And now going to a hostile environment like Portland, it's tough winning in that stadium. And
No, I agree.
it's understandable. It's understandable. So right now, the percentage is now in favor of the Trailblazers. I'm still going to go with the Spurs, at least stealing one game, and then not forcing Wembanyama to come back either game 3, game 4, come back in game 5, get that momentum back in San Antonio, and then finish it game 6 in Portland or at their home court in game 7. But a lot of people saw this like maybe 5-6 game series. Now with Wembanyama out, this could actually turn out to be a 7-game series. Western Conference right now, like we predicted, the most interesting and competitive without the Phoenix and OKC series. Now, just to wrap it up, Nick.
Whoa, one more thing. You're forgetting something, Raul. You're forgetting something.
Am I forgetting something? Are you sure I'm not forgetting something? What am I forgetting to basically?
I think you're a little hungry right now.
All right. After that take that you gave me about the Metropol Restaurant, and literally I'm changing my dinner meal for today. I'm switching up to Uber Eats, which has the Metropol Restaurant a part of. You can go to the Dolphin Mall and watch the NBA games, the NHL playoffs, the MLB game, regular season games, and also the NFL draft. They're going to have all the TVs set for you guys to watch every single scene. So you're more than welcome to go to the Metropol Restaurant, which has opened its doors here in South Florida, specifically in Miami, located at the Dolphin Mall. If you're craving delicious Puerto Rican or Cuban food, you have to visit Metropol Restaurant, located at the Dolphin Mall. They offer the best fried pork, ribs, stuffed chicken, congri rice, croquettes, and much more. But if you had a long day like me and you're tired, they also have Uber Eats, which can deliver it to your house, and you can sit, relax, and watch the most, let's just say, important scene of tonight, which is the NFL draft, where Nick is right now. But also, we cannot miss the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, and some of the interesting MLB regular season games that's been going through since the afternoon and the rest of the day. All right,
I
Nick.
miss it, Raul. I need to get out of Pittsburgh. I need to get myself to Metropol. Everything they have around here is hot dogs and cheeseburgers. I can't stand it.
Yeah, but hey, focus. You got a lot of work to do there as a scouting reporter.
And then tomorrow I
Researching
gotta go
real
to
fast.
LA, and then I gotta go to LA for the Kings game. Come on now, I got a lot
Yeah,
of covering I gotta do this
yeah,
weekend.
yeah, yep. All right, so let's go to our last topic. Quick takes, Nick. Just to wrap it up, NHL playoffs has been, as expected, chaotic in the
Come on,
beginning of the
a
first round.
masterpiece.
And I gotta let the audience know that this headline actually was created by our own Nicholas Dupont. But the question was by me. Which series has been the most exciting to watch?
Oof, Raul, I think you've said it best. This so far these playoffs have been chaotic, and I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, I love the
That
upsets. I love
that
the
that
rivalries.
that Bruins and Sabres fight.
It's
That lighting, Katie. I'm sorry.
Tampa and Montreal.
I already think I
It's
said
exciting.
which.
I know you're getting excited just
All right,
thinking
so
about it. Yes.
the lighting in Canadian, bro. Not only it was a big brawl in throughout the first quarter and different moments during that game, but then to end it 3-2 in overtime, like
It was justice.
that's what that was justice, and it's what playoff is about. And the important thing is that it ended up being the Lightning winning. Because when the Panthers are not there, we do root for Florida teams. You even said it in podcasts. So
Keep the cup in Florida.
just in case if you fall off your chair. But Anthony, I think I already said my answer, but I want to elaborate as quick as possible. Just say which has been your favorite series right now.
Honestly, it's been Dallas and Minnesota. That first game
Mm,
with Minnesota and Dallas, when
yeah.
Minnesota went up and they just took control of the game, I was like, man, this is a wrap. Dallas is a joke. And what does Dallas do? They come back and they show we are still here. We're not just nobodies. We are still here and we're ready to compete. I personally don't believe in them. I don't think they have a very serious team. They've been to the Western Conference Finals for almost 3 years in a row now, and they still haven't been able to get past the hump. So maybe this is the year. I don't think it is. I think Minnesota's way stronger than them. I think they've been playing better than them. I think they've been skating better. Defensively, they've been fantastic. I mean, not allowing 6 goals last game, that's brutal. But every team is due for a big night, you know, especially in the playoffs where you're going to see plenty of goals being scored. I think 13 goals have been scored total in this one series alone, which is awesome to see. I love it. I love it so much. I got to shout out Kirill Kaprizov and Quinn Hughes, who have been incredible X factors to the Minnesota Wild. They're amazing. They're fun to watch. I think it's, oh man, I'm not even going to say his name because I'm going to butcher it. But their center has been absolutely incredible. I love watching Minnesota play. They remind me of, I don't want to say they remind me of the Florida Panthers because it's a completely different squad, completely different unit, completely different system. But they are a very fun, fast paced team that knows how to score and knows how to do their job.
I would pick Sabres and Bruins because, wow, that has been literally
It's
basically
exciting.
it's been close. It's been a 4-3 win and then a 4-2 win. Combined, it's a 7-6 right now between both teams. When I mean that, you got the Bruins who have tied the series and they're up 7-6 in basically in differential goals, only by one. The first game was amazing. Buffalo's obviously the favorite, but you can't sleep on a Boston team like the Bruins, especially when you got Pasternak playing the way in assist. Like the dude right now is balling for them. The
He's awesome.
dude, and also Arvidsson with 2 goals in the last game.
Oh,
Arvidsson 2 goals in the last game. That was the game changer for them to basically tie the series against the Sabres. Sabres ended up winning their division. They were one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Yet to be more specific, top two. But the Bruins are one of those that I'm not going to compare them to the Panthers, but they don't have that big expectation to make a playoff run. But you cannot sleep on them. When the Panthers won back to back, they were basically one in between like the top 6 teams. They were not even leading their division or conference. And the Bruins are actually somebody that I see as sleeper, but everybody has obviously Buffalo winning it, and then facing the Tampa Bay Lightnings, which I feel is a more interesting series. Buffalo and Tampa Bay, I feel like that can go to a 7-game type of series. But right now, of what we've seen transpiring, like both teams are trying to play as much better defense as possible. Like I said, 13 goals between both teams. It's a 7-6 edge on Boston. That's why right now they just tied the series because they permitted two less goals than the last game. In this case, Buffalo allowed 2 goals in the last game. So it's been like basically a David versus Goliath type of fight. It's been neck to neck. It's been counter punches by
No, it's been
both sides.
awesome.
It's been counter punches by both sides. So at the moment, remember, guys, both NBA NHL playoffs started on Saturday. This is just the beginning. Today we gave our outcomes on like a team that is surprising, like the Lakers without Doncic and Reeves. We talked about how Wembanyama's injury can affect the San Antonio Spurs, which finished number 2, and a lot of people predicted them to make it to at least the Western Conference Finals. You have them going to the finals, and then all of a sudden you're defending the Portland Trail Blazers. So every single week, we always
It's chaos. It's crazy. I have to change my takes every single week. Shit keeps happening.
We stay consistent, but then different outcomes can change. Basically,
Realism hits my brain.
Realism hits our brains and what can transpire in the future for certain teams. But I feel like NHL has been more crazier, especially that last brawl between the Canadians and Lightning. And that is one of the teams that either the Sabres or the Bruins are going to face in the next round. So for me, at the moment, it has been more interesting than the NBA. I cannot believe for the first time in my 32 years I'm going to say that, but it is what it is.
Welcome, Raul. Welcome to playoff hockey. This is what it's about. And I want to touch on that game you're talking about before we end the show. The biggest X factor for that Buffalo Sabres team in this upcoming for the rest of the series is going to be Peyton Krebs. I don't know if you're familiar with Peyton Krebs, but he's the center for the Buffalo Sabres. He has a point for every game that he's played right now. It's only been 2 games, but he has a point so far for every game. He's been a huge facilitator, a huge playmaker. If he can get it going on his line, and they're going to be fine because Tage Thompson is their best player, and Tage Thompson's another level. And also, what about the fan base of Buffalo? Oh man,
you saw Josh Allen. You saw Josh Allen chugging that beer.
I love that. As much as I hate the Bills, I love seeing that. You know,
Buffalo has always been like very pro to sports.
Yeah,
like their fan base have always been supportive in their good times, bad times, nightmare times. Like right now, could be a good decade for certain teams.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I love to see it. I love to see the fans reacting. I love to see them having fun, especially since their team hasn't been to the playoffs in 11 years. Again, as a Dolphins fans, I hate the Bills, but as a hockey fan, I'm very happy for them, and I really hope to see them go far. I love the videos that they've been posting with them beating up the punching bag and stuff like that, or the dummy. You know, it's really been great to watch these guys. Not just them, just everyone in the NHL. And another series like Pittsburgh, for example, that I would have never projected. That Sidney Crosby to be down 2-0 right now against the Flyers, hometown rivals. Yeah, so I mean, it's great. It's really great to see. I love. I don't see
just to end and wrap this episode. I don't see Sidney Crosby retiring. But he's won Stanley Cup before. I would like him to, before he hangs up his gloves, to win one more. Win one more. I mean, look what happened. He couldn't win gold medal with Canada.
Listen, man, as long as they don't beat the Florida Panthers to go to the finals and win it themselves, I'm happy. Okay?
Don't even say that.
Once the Panthers make the playoffs, it's all Panthers hockey.
Of course.
Once they're not in there, I'll go for anybody. I love everybody in that team.
We support a Florida team, but hey, Nick.
Except Nick overrated.
Yeah. Now, there's 2 teams that are predicted to make it a Stanley Cup, and they're up 2-0. Avalanche and Hurricanes. We'll see what happens.
I still doubt with Carolina.
No, but it's been very exciting, Nick. Right now we are busy in sports with what we just saw a couple of weeks ago in the UFC and the upcoming fights and boxing matches. We are during the MLB regular season. We got the NBA and NHL playoffs, and now good luck tonight, NFL Draft 2026. I'm predicting there's going to be so many trades, impactful ones, surprising ones. So, Nick, Have a good night, because then you gotta fly to Los Angeles. You're gonna be busy for the next upcoming days. Have a safe flight, and I'll see you in the next episode of Section 305, the Sports Show.
Sounds good. See you guys.